Good morning and welcome to this exciting day to talk about businesses all around the world. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Ukem. In Business 360 today, we'll look at the top stories in the world of business. One of it being the events unfolding regarding the arrest and prosecution of FX owner at the time, Sam Bankman-Fried. And we begin from there. Sam Bankman-Fried used stolen customer funds to make more than $100 million in political campaign contribution to mostly Democratic candidates ahead of the 2022 United States midterm election. Federal U.S. prosecutors said on Monday in a new indictment filed against the FTX cryptocurrency exchange's founder. The indictment charges the 31-year-old former billionaire with 7 counts of conspiracy and fraud over the collapse of the exchange. U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan in Manhattan ruled on Friday that Bankman-Fried, the founder of bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX, must be jailed for tampering with witnesses while free on a $250 million bond at his parents' home in Palo Alto, California. Quite concerning from there. In Japan. Japan's economy grew much faster than expected in the 3 months to the end of June as the country's weak currency boosted exports. The world's third largest economy saw its gross domestic product GDP rise by an annualized 6% in the period. It is about twice the rate of growth forecast by economists and marks the biggest rise in almost 3 years. The fall in the value of the yen helped exporters as Japanese-made goods became cheaper for consumers around the world. Japan's currency has fallen sharply against major currencies in recent months and is down by more than 10% versus the US dollar this year. In China. China has stopped releasing youth unemployment figures, which were seen by some as a key indication of a country's slowdown. The decision is due to changes in the world's second-largest economy and its society, according to government spokesperson. In June, China's jobless rate for 16 to 24-year-olds in urban areas hit a record high of more than 20%. The country's central bank also cut the cost of borrowing on Tuesday in an attempt to help boost growth. Official figures published on Tuesday showed China's overall unemployment rate had risen to 5.3% in July. In Africa. African airlines defy odds with 34.7% surge, with global share remaining modest. In a display of resilience, Africa's aviation sector has defied expectations by achieving a 34.7% surge in passenger traffic over the past year. However, the global passenger market share remains modest at 2.1%. Challenges in the supply chain, including aircraft delivery delays and spare part shortages, hinder airlines from fully capitalizing on the rising demand. In Nigeria, that the Apex Bank would adopt new measures to stabilize the naira against the dollar in the coming days. He stated this in a chat with State House correspondents after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The meeting took place a few hours after reports on the purported plan by petrol marketers to increase fuel price over the exchange rate fluctuation in the parallel markets. There are fears that the naira would trade past 950 naira per dollar in the parallel market in the coming weeks, and quite concerning from that angle. We also hear that diesel price has hit 950 naira per litre. Oil marketers on Monday said the foreign exchange crisis in Nigeria and the recent implementation of a 7.5% value-added tax on automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, had pushed up the cost of the commodity to between 900 naira and 950 naira per litre in many states. The development has made local manufacturers say that the situation may lead to closure of some factories and job losses. Speaking under the aegis of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria at a press briefing in Abuja, the marketers explained that their inability to access the United States dollars was impeding their ability to import diesel. The national president, Nokosa, Bernard Corey, told journalists that the cost of diesel was around 650 naira per litre before the federal government introduced a 7.5% VAT on the commodity. Still in Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria said about $20 billion annual investment would be needed to achieve the desired gas expansion project in Nigeria and deepen the use of gas across the country. It disclosed this through the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative at the Decade of Gas Action Plan Dialogue, organized by the African Initiative for Transparency, Accountability and Responsible Leadership in Abuja. The Executive Secretary, Naiti Obonnaya Orji, explained that for the gas utilization policy of the federal government to work, there was a compelling need for deliberate, ambitious investment in gas infrastructure. This, he said, would include investment in specific connectivity across upstream facilities and facilities to processing, power plants, and other end users. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at global economy, expected data releases all around the world, and we'll talk about the important indices in today's markets, the forex market, commodity market, and the stock market. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Okem. Looking at economic statistics all around the world, we'll begin with economic calendar. The expected data releases for today, August 15th, the calendar this morning. According to economic calendar this morning, as at 12:50 a.m., the GDP growth annualized according to preliminary estimates for second quarter in Japan came out at 6%. Previous standing, it was revised from 3.7%, indicating improvement and even better than the forecast 3.2%. Still, at 12:50 a.m., GDP growth quarter on quarter, according to preliminary estimates for the second quarter in Japan, came out at 1.5%. At 2:30 a.m., the Reserve Bank of Australia minutes was given, and it gives the outstanding features of what the economic indices would be. Further in the day, let's look at further in the day. 3 a.m. in the morning, industrial production year-on-year for July came out in China, 3.7% compared to previous standing of 4.4%, indicating a drop in industrial production year-on-year in China. Furthermore in the day, let's look at the standing still. 10 a.m. this morning, the economic sentiment index in Germany came out at a negative 12.3%, quite improved compared to negative 14.7% previous standings indicated, and the forecast had shown negative 15%. 1:30 p.m. today, Canada's inflation rate year-on-year would be out, and expectations are out. And even further in the afternoon, there would be further indices, retail sales month-on-month by 1:30 p.m. in the US, and expectations are quite high for the economic standings and investors. Looking at the talking points around the world, let's look at the state of things in China. The People's Bank of China unexpectedly lowered second such reduction this year, as it seeks to help an economy that faces risks from a deepening property crisis and weak consumer spending. The move opens the door to a potential cut in lending loan prime rates, LPR, next week in China. In Africa, the annual inflation rate in Angola quickened for the third month to 12.12% in July 2023, the highest since January, and up from 11.25% in the previous month, mainly due to a sharp depreciation of the local Kwanza currency. The inflation is also being driven higher by a government decision to lower a fuel subsidy in June, which has led to a steep increase in gasoline prices. On a monthly basis, consumer prices went up by 1.6% in July, the most in 17 months, after a 1.41% increase in June. Prices rose primarily for health at a positive 2.05%, food and non-alcoholic beverages positive 1.91%, miscellaneous goods and services positive 1.86%, and clothing as well as footwear a positive 1.69%. Let's quickly move to the charts indicating Angola's inflation rates this morning. The chart. According to the charts, inflation rate in Angola was at 16.68 percentage points in October 2022, and it began to drop, dropping to 12.55% by January this year. And the decline continued until recently, the last 2 months. Inflation began to tick up, the price of commodities going higher, and currently 12.12%. But it's been recent and humongous improvement in the inflation status of the country. Still in Africa. The annual inflation rate in Cape Verde continued to ease to hit 2.6% in January 2023, the lowest since August 2021, down from 3.5% in the prior month. Prices moderated mostly for restaurants and hotels in June, miscellaneous goods and services, and food and non-alcoholic beverages. Moreover, prices declined for communication, transportation, health, and education at a negative 0.4%, the same pace as in June. On a monthly basis, consumer prices were up by 0.2% in July after increasing by 0.3% in the previous month. Let's look at the chart indicating Cape Verde's inflation rates. The chart this morning. Inflation rate in Cape Verde stood at 8.2% last year October, but began to decline and ease slowly to 7.4% in January this year. And furthermore 4.8% April 2023. And the decline continued, indicating a slowdown in the rise in the price of commodities in Cape Verde and a strength of the currency, inflation hitting 2.6% in July 2023. While being set to talk about the commodity market, Nelson Lowe has asked a question: will China's drive for food security impact soybean markets? China has made no secret of its aim to achieve food security. As the world's biggest importer of a number of staples, including soybeans, corn, and rice, its push to be self-sufficient has significant implications for agricultural commodity prices. Let's find out more regarding this from Nelson Lowe.
Over recent years, China has been pushing to become more self-reliant in securing its own food supply. Soybeans are included in the list of agricultural commodities for which President Xi Jinping has called for increase. But what does China's food security push mean for soybean prices? In 2022, China's domestic production rose by 23.7% during the year to reach 20.28 million metric tons. Further increases are expected in the years ahead as efforts continue to meet the target of boosting the country's soybean output by 40% by the end of 2025. While China remains the world's largest importer of soybeans, its consumption is only one of a number of factors that drive the global soybean market. The price of soybeans has been on a strong upward trajectory since mid-2020, with prices reaching a record level in the months following the start of the conflict in Ukraine. Buoyant soybean prices are also in part being driven by lower supply, with drought conditions in Argentina, US production down year on year, and higher domestic consumption further dampening exports. Extreme weather, geopolitical conflict, and this combination of lower production and still high demand looks very likely to continue.
That is regarding the position of China and its need for food security and how it gets to affect the grain market. Now let's move to the grain market. Virginia McCarthy is standing by. As the close of yesterday's market, soybean rally, corn and wheat trade was lower. Let's have more from Virginia McCarthy regarding this.
Today in the grain market, soybeans were higher after that USDA report reduced some of that output forecast it really moved the market a little bit. Also changing from cool and wet to hot and dry also gave a little bit of a boost. Even today, we had announcement of more export sales. That's all just positive for that soybean market. We were up over 20 cents really at one point. Right now, we are almost 45 cents off the lows from the last couple of days. So it looks like that the market is just showing it's real strength to start this week. Option open interest did sell off some of the calls and bought 3,500 puts, which normally would have been a little bit bearish. Sometimes that happens after a report. But let's see how soybeans, if they can hold up for the rest of the week. The CVAL was down 2% to 19.9. The oil was down 2.25% to 31.1.
That is the outlook regarding soybeans and other grains market. Quickly, let's look at the updates from yesterday's market. Oats rose by 1.94%. The top commodity losers yesterday indicated 1. Germany electricity spot prices declining negative 9.49%. Coffee was one of the top losers yesterday. Coffee declined 4.44%. Lean hogs also declined 2.77%. For the top gainers in commodities at the closure of the market yesterday, oats topped the market with 1.94%, soybeans 1.18%, and canola 1.1%. Let's quickly move to the agricultural market, what the standings in the agricultural market this morning would be. Afterwards, we'll talk about the energy market, the metal market, and industrial market, the agricultural market this morning. According to the market this morning, it's been that of decline for soybeans, wheat dropping 2.3 points, soybeans dropping 18.5 points, negative 1.37%. Current price for soybeans is $1,384 per bushel. Wheat price $618 per bushel. Palm oil has gained 113 points, a 3.09% appreciation. 3,808 Malaysian ringgit per ton is the price of palm oil. Furthermore, let's look at other markets, the metal market, and afterwards the energy market and industrial market, the metal market now. Gold price is downward by 4.41 points, a negative 0.23% decline, $1,903 per ounce. Silver slightly downward this morning, copper also. Steel price has gained 4 points. Current price for steel is 3,580 Chinese yuan per ton. Iron ore downward by 2 points. The energy market. According to statistical data in the market, we've seen the ups and downs, but let's have a look at the energy market and what is happening within this market. Crude oil price, current price, US crude is $82 per barrel, dropping slightly this morning, a negative 0.42 percentage point. Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, is downward by 0.2 percentage decline, $86 per barrel. Natural gas a little here, a little there. Gasoline a little here, a little there. Heating oil, same story. But coal price has gained 2.5 points, 1.74 percentage appreciation, $146 per ton. And the industrial market this morning, what the prices for the likes of bitumen are. Bitumen has gained 60 points this morning, 1.57 percentage appreciation, 3,890 Chinese yuan per ton is the price of bitumen. Aluminium price has gained 2.5 points. Lead, the 18.75 decline in terms of points. $2,087 per ton is the price of lead. For tin price has dropped 1,132 points this morning, a negative 4.28 percentage decline. $25,325 per ton is the price of tin. Now to the foreign exchange market. It's official that the Argentine peso devalued to a record low yesterday. The official exchange rate of Argentine peso was lowered to a fresh record low of 350 per US dollar in August, marking an 18% devaluation by the government after presidential candidate Javier Milei unexpectedly took top spot in the country's primary elections. The devaluation reflected market concerns around risks of uncertainty and dollarization measures aligned with the anti-establishment candidate. The development triggered a 15% slide in more than accessible parallel peso markets and a plunge in dollar-denominated bonds despite the 21 percentage point emergency rate hike by Argentina's central bank as official attempts to contain the mass sell-off. And yesterday's outlook for FX updates, looking at what the result in yesterday's market, who were the top gainers and the top losers yesterday's market, it gives a pointer to what could happen today. The top currency gainers yesterday was Russian ruble. After a fall at 100 plus per US dollar, it declined and improved later. When it got close to the night period, it improved to 94 per US dollar Russian ruble, gaining 4.04 percentage points. Swedish krona was second, again 0.3 percentage point, and the dollar index gained 0.2 percentage. The biggest losers also were Brazilian real, a negative 0.94 percentage decline, Polish zloty, a negative 0.7 percentage decline, and Turkish lira, negative 0.68 percentage decline. Let's move quickly to the market and see what the standings in the market are this morning. The euro against the US dollar and the naira's perspective against the majors. Euro US dollar is back at 1.09 point mark, no significant gain in the market, while the pound against the US dollar is still at 1.27 point mark, no significant difference in the market, 0.16 percentage appreciation. The Aussie struggles slightly against the US dollar. Quickly, let's look at naira's perspective in this market, the naira against the major. The naira had hit 764 naira to the US dollar, a decline of 1.1 points for the US dollar against the naira, indicating strength of the naira in today's opener of the market. As at the closure of yesterday's market, the euro to naira 839 naira equaling 1 euro at the international window, and pound to naira 974 naira to a pound. Let's look at the black market then quickly. The standings in the black market and the opportunities in it are totally different from the international and exporters window. 952 naira equaling $1, 1,200 naira to a pound, and 1,016 naira to the euro. Let's look at the cryptocurrency market, what the standings are for the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, current price $29,394 US dollars for one Bitcoin, gaining 29 points, while the struggle is up there for the crypto market, a little back and forth for most of them. Here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360. My name is Blyden Kim. Thank you for watching.